Have you ever seen those disaster movies where a volcano erupts and engulfs an entire city with its molten claws? People scramble around to save their lives and the ones that they love. But these things simply do not happen in movies. In fact, it's the movies that are inspired by real-life events. Everything can change in just the blink of an eye. The instances that I am about to tell you in this session is a testament to that. And so it began on the day after Christmas, the 26th of December 2004. A reign of terror such that the world had never seen. So in the wee hours of the morning, when most people were asleep, a tsunami hit Thailand and parts of India such as the Andaman and Nicobar Islands and the Tamil Nadu coast. These areas suffered huge losses of life and property. But do you know what a tsunami is? Well, a tsunami is a very large and powerful wave caused by earthquakes under the sea. The 2004 tsunami was considered to be the deadliest tsunami ever. It was responsible for taking the lives of more than 150,000 people from many southeastern countries. In India, it hit parts of Tamil Nadu and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, killing more than 6,000 people. And today, I am here to share with you a few stories of courage and survival. Interestingly, they say that it's the animals who are the first to sense any forthcoming danger. So, did they sense that a tsunami was coming? Well, some stories suggest that they did. So let us begin with our session, where we shall read many stories of survival when tsunami hit the Indian Ocean, and that is also the topic for our session, which is the tsunami. Now let me start by reading out the portions of this chapter, and we can discuss it part by part. The tsunami. These stories are all from the Andaman and Nicobar archipelago. Ignatius was the manager of a cooperative society in Kachal. His wife woke him up at 6 a.m. because she felt an earthquake. Ignatius carefully took his television set off its table and put it down on the ground so that it would not fall and break. Then the family rushed out of the house. When the tremors stopped, they saw the sea rising. In the chaos and confusion, two of his children caught hold of the hands of their mother's father and mother's brother and rushed in the opposite direction. He never saw them again. His wife was also swept away. Only the three other children who came with him were saved. Sanjeev was a policeman serving in the Kachal island of the Nicobar group of islands. He somehow managed to save himself, his wife, and his baby daughter from the waves. But then he heard cries for help from the wife of John, the guest house cook. Sanjeev jumped into the water to rescue her, but they were both swept away. 13-year-old Meghna was swept away along with her parents and 77 other people. She spent 2 days floating in the sea, holding on to a wooden door. 11 times she saw relief helicopters overhead, but they did not see her. She was brought to the shore by a wave and was found walking on the seashore in a daze. Almas Javed was 10 years old. She was a student of Carmel Convent in Port Blair, where her father had a petrol pump. Her mother Rahila's home was in Nankauri Island. The family had gone there to celebrate Christmas. When the tremors came early in the morning, the family was sleeping. Almas's father saw the sea water recede. He understood that the water would come rushing back with great force. He woke everyone up and tried to rush them to a safer place. As they ran, her grandfather was hit on the head by something and he fell down. Her father rushed to help him. Then came the first giant wave that swept both of them away. Almas's mother and aunts stood clinging to the leaves of a coconut tree, calling out to her. A wave uprooted the tree and they too were washed away. Almas saw a log of wood floating. She climbed onto it. Then she fainted. When she woke up, she was in a hospital in Kamorta From there, she was brought to Port Blair. The little girl does not want to talk about the incident with anyone. She is still traumatized. So that was indeed a harrowing tale. If that was frightening to listen to, can you imagine how the people must have suffered? The stories that we just read are from the Andaman and Nicobar stretch of islands. This story is about Ignatius, a manager of a cooperative society in Kachal. Now, as soon as she felt an earthquake, Ignatius's wife woke him up at 6 in the morning. The first thing that Ignatius did was to place his television set on the ground so that it wouldn't fall and break. Then he moved out of the house with his family. Little did he know that it wasn't the end. Soon after the tremor stopped, Ignatius and his family saw huge waves in the sea. In the chaos and confusion, two of his children caught hold of the hands of their grandfather and uncle and rushed towards the direction they shouldn't have. And that was the last time that Ignatius got to see them. Almost immediately afterwards, his wife was also swept away. Only the remaining 3 of his children who came with him survived. Next, we have the story about a brave policeman by the name Sanjeev. At the time, he was posted in the Kachal island of the Nicobar group of islands. Somehow, he managed to save himself, his wife, and his baby daughter from the waves. Afterwards, he could hear his cook's wife calling for help. As soon as he heard her, he went to her rescue, but they were both swept away with the strong waves. Then we have the heart-wrenching story of a 13-year-old by the name of Meghna. Now Meghna, her parents, and 77 other people along with them were swept away by the waves. Meghna could survive by holding on to a wooden door for 2 days. The most unfortunate thing was that even though relief helicopters flew over her almost 11 times, they still did not see her. Eventually, she was thrown ashore by a wave and was found walking on the seashore, still in shock. And the last story that we have from the Andaman and Nicobar Islands is about 10 years old Almas Javed. She was a student of Carmel Convent in Port Blair. Her father had a petrol pump there. The family had gone there to celebrate Christmas in Nankauri Island, which was her mother Rahila's home. Now, early in the morning, they felt the tremors. As soon as Almas's father saw the seawater move away, he was sure that the water would come rushing back with an equal intensity. He roused everyone to get up and tried to rush them to a safer place. But fate played a wicked game on them. As they ran, Almas's grandfather hit his head and he fell down. So her father rushed to help him. But sadly, that's when the first giant wave came and swept away both Almas's father and grandfather. Then, although Almas's mother and aunts stood by, clinging to the leaves of a coconut tree, calling her name, unfortunately, that tree was soon uprooted by a wave and they soon got washed away. Then Almas saw a log of wood floating. She climbed onto it and fainted. After she woke up, she realized that she was in a hospital in Kamorta. From there, she was brought back to Port Blair. She never spoke about the incident to anyone, and she is still too traumatized to talk about the incident. I know you want to know what's happened next, but first, let's take a look at some new words in this part of the story. So the first word we have in this part of the story is archipelago, which means a group of islands. And the word refers to the Andaman and Nicobar group of islands. Next we have the word tremors, which means shakes felt due to earthquake. Then we have the word chaos, which means complete disorder and confusion. After that we have the word relief, which means the assistance given to those in special need or difficulty. This word refers to the helicopters that flew over Meghna but couldn't see her. The next word on the list is daze, which means shock. This word indicates Meghna's state of mind after she was thrown on the shore by a wave. Then we have the word clinging, which means to hang on to something. This word indicates how Almas's mother and aunts tried to save themselves by hanging on to a coconut tree. Next, we have the word uprooted, which means to pull something, especially a tree or plant, out of the ground. This indicates how the coconut tree could not withstand the force of the water and Almas's family was swept away. Then we have the word fainted, which means to fall unconscious. This word refers to Almas Javed. And finally, we have the word traumatized, which refers to someone who is subjected to a lasting shock as a result of a disturbing experience or physical injury. This word refers to Almas Javed, who saw her entire family being swept away in front of her eyes. Now, let me share another inspirational story about a young girl named Tilly Smith. Tilly Smith, a British schoolgirl, was able to save many lives when the tsunami struck Phuket beach in Thailand. Though she has won a number of awards, her parents have not allowed their daughter to be interviewed on television and made into a heroine. Why do you think they took that decision? Now, here is a story from Thailand. The Smith family from southeast England was celebrating Christmas at a beach resort in southern Thailand. Tilly Smith was a 10-year-old schoolgirl. Her sister was 7 years old. Their parents were Penny and Colin Smith. It was 26 December 2004. Deadly tsunami waves were already on their way. They had been triggered by a massive earthquake off the northern Sumatra earlier that morning. The water was swelling and kept coming in. Penny Smith remembered. The beach was getting smaller and smaller. I didn't know what was happening. But Tilly Smith sensed that something was wrong. Her mind kept going back to a geography lesson she had taken in England just 2 weeks before she flew out to Thailand with her family. Tilly saw the sea slowly rise and start to foam, bubble, and form whirlpools. She remembered that she had seen this in class in a video of a tsunami that had hit the Hawaiian Islands in 1946. Her geography teacher had shown her class the video and told them that tsunamis can be caused by earthquakes, volcanoes, and landslides.